Hello dear students, welcome back again to Chinmoy's YouTube channel. So today we are here with the second part of nervous system. So in the previous episode we have already studied about the first main part where we have discussed about the types of nerves, their function, we have discussed about the structure of neuron, and we have also discussed about the synapse or the synaptic transmission. So let us see what is here in store today in today's episode of nervous system part 2. So what are the learning objectives of today's lesson? Today we are going to study about the nervous system in humans, that is the parts which are in the nervous system of humans, that is the central nervous system, which is including the brain and the spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system and the autonomic nervous system. So dear students, please do subscribe to my channel if you want to know regarding this lesson and many other upcoming lessons which are yet to be taught. As per your ICSE curriculum, I'll be doing the revision of question papers also before your final exams. So stay tuned, subscribe to my channel, and let's start with today's episode of Nervous System Part 2. Now first, what are the three different types of nervous system or parts of nervous system? That is central nervous system, peripheral nervous system and autonomic nervous system. So first we will put a stress on this central nervous system. Now, what is the central nervous system consisting of? The central nervous system consists of the brain and the spinal cord. So, two important parts of the nervous system. The brain and the spinal cord are the parts of central nervous system. So, what is its role? Its role is that is the controlling center and it is controlling all the body functions. And it is also the site of information processing of the body. So it is processing all the information which is received from the body. So it is the site of information processing of the body. Now it is responsible for processing every sensation and thought of a human being. So if any damage or any problem happens in central nervous system, what is happening? It is unable to process all the informations. It is unable to feel the sensation or thought a human being should have or the human experience. So it is rather affecting a information processing delay or information processing problem in a human being. So the every sensation or thought of a person comes from the central nervous system. Now the first part of the central nervous system is the brain. So this is the structure of the brain in details. Each and every part we will be discussing in the later part of this episode. First let us know that what is brain. So the main is the brain control center of the nervous system. So first one, it is the main control center of the nervous system. So it is controlling all the functions. So it is the main control center and it is present inside the cranium of the skull. Okay, and it is the site of information. It is a site of information processing bodies, sensation of the body. Now the brain, it is highly developed organ and is situated in the cranium of the skull. And in adult, the brain weighs from 1200 grams to 1400 grams, which is about 2% of the body weight. So in an adult, it is weighing 1200 grams to 1400 grams and it is about 2% of the body weight. And it controls our thinking, our feeling, movement and other senses. So it is always helping us to think, to feel, to move our organs and to feel the senses. Okay, so these are all the main functions of the brain. So it is enveloped by three membranes called the meninges. Okay, so the brain is covered by the three membranes called the meninges, and the membranes, they are having cerebrospinal fluid or CSF in between them. And the CSF, what is the function of CSF? The cerebrospinal fluid, it nourishes the brain and protects it from the shocks, like in certain cases of accidents, or if the head is hit hard, certainly the cerebrospinal fluid of the brain, it protects it from shocks by absorbing the this shocks or this a hard hit. If someone is hitting the brain hard, these shocks are being absorbed by the cerebrospinal fluid. Is it clear? Now, of the three main regions of the brain, the first one comes the cerebrum. So what is cerebrum? Now in the next slide we will be seeing the diagram. Now let us discuss what is cerebrum. This is the uppermost and the largest and the most important part of the brain, and it is occupying the major part of the brain, the cerebrum. It fills most of the skull, and other parts of the brain like the cerebellum, the medulla oblongata and all, they are a smaller part of the brain. So the main part of the brain is the cerebrum, and it is highly convoluted in appearance with ridges and grooves. So it is having many twists and turns, many ridges and grooves. So what are the functions of these ridges and grooves? They increase the surface area and they try to accommodate more nerve cells within that area. So they are increasing the surface area and they are accommodating a large number of nerve cells within that region only. So there are a huge number of ridges and grooves. Okay, so the right and the left cerebral hemispheres are with deep furrow in between. So there is a deep furrow in between the right and the left cerebral hemisphere. So another mention should be made here, that is the left half of the cerebrum, it controls the right half of the body. So what is it doing? So the left half of the cerebrum, it is controlling the right half of the body. So it controls the right part of the body. Okay, so right part of the body is being controlled by the left half of the cerebrum, and whereas the right half of the cerebrum, it controls the left part of the body. So this is how the cerebrum it's working. So the opposite side is controlling the opposite part, and the pain, temperature, touch, sight, sound, taste and smell all are being controlled by the cerebrum. It controls the mental activities such as memory, intelligence, thinking and reasoning also. So it is a very vital part of the brain. It is consisting of the majority part filling most of the skull. It is the prominent part of the brain and it is controlling certain mental activities like memory, intelligence, thinking, reasoning and all. Okay. Now comes the cerebellum. The cerebellum, it is egg-shaped lobe and it is located at the base of the cerebrum. It does not have any convolutions. It is a very straight cut part. It is not having any convolutions, but it has many furrows. Now, what is the main important part of cerebellum? So cerebrum was having all the important functions like it is helping in the sensation of pain, temperature, touch, sight, sound, taste, smell. All the main parts are controlled by the cerebrum. So cerebellum, what is it doing? It is mainly acting as it is helping the muscle coordination and balance of the body. So this is the main function of cerebellum. So next comes the medulla. So the lowermost part of the brain located at the base of the skull is the medulla oblongata. So this is located at the base of the skull. It is the medulla oblongata and it is like the stem of the brain. Okay, it is like the stem of the brain. It is emerging out from the base of the brain and is continued as the spinal cord in the posterior region. So it is the lowermost part of the brain and it is located at the base of the skull. It is like the stem of the brain. So it is acting as a stem of the brain and it is emerging out from the base of the brain and is continued in the spinal cord. What are the main functions of medulla oblongata? It is controlling breathing, heartbeat, coughing, sneezing and other involuntary functions. So it is controlling your breathing, your heart rate, your coughing, sneezing and also these are the main functions of medulla oblongata. So now we will see the diagram of each and we will be trying to understand these organs. So here we are seeing the diagram of the three parts of the brain with their functions. So let us see what are the diagram here showing us. So see, this is the main part of the brain, that is the cerebrum. So full part is only cerebrum. Next comes the cerebellum and the medulla. So the cerebrum, it is the uppermost and the largest part of the brain. It is having the parietal lobe, the frontal lobe, the parietal lobe, the occipital lobe. This is the central sulcus. So these all parts of the brain in detail you will be studying in your 11th and 12th standard. So now you just understand this is the cerebrum, this is the cerebellum part of the brain, this one is highly convoluted with many ridges and grooves we have told, and here no ridges and grooves but convolutions are there. It is the small part and it is this one is the medulla or the medulla oblongata. It is the lowermost part of the brain located at the base of the skull. This is located at the base of the skull and it is continuing as the spinal cord, this medulla oblongata. Now you have you know that what are the functions. Again we will do a revision of functions here. So what are the functions here? Let us see the functions here. Now we can see that the motor cortex, it is doing the movement function. The sensory cortex is related to sensations. The parietal lobe, they are doing the perception making. Now we can say that arithmetic, spelling and also perception making is the function of parietal lobe. This occipital lobe is related to vision. This temporal lobe is related to memory, understanding and language. And this frontal lobe, it is mainly for the executive functions, thinking, planning, organizing, problem solving, behavioral control of personality and all. So all the parts of the brain, they are having different functions. Now this was all the functions of the cerebrum. Now cerebellum, the main functions, we have told that balance and coordination are the main functions of the cerebellum. So balance and coordination. And this brain stem, it is that is the medulla oblongata. It is relating to breathing, heart rate and temperature. So it is breathing, heart rate and temperature. Breathing, heart rate, we have told that breathing, heart rate, coughing, sneezing and all, it is controlled by the brainstem. Coughing, sneezing, all involuntary actions, heartbeat, we have told earlier. So these all are the functions of medulla oblongata or the brainstem. So this is all about the brain and its function. So we are moving on now to the spinal cord. Now comes the spinal cord. So what is the spinal cord? It is the continuation of the medulla oblongata. So it is the continuation of the medulla oblongata of the brain. Like this, the cord emerges from one hole at the base of the skull and it runs down the vertebral column. And the spinal cord, as the brain was having, is protected by the meninges with CSF in it. So meninges is the outer covering of the brain, having 3 layers of meninges, and it is having cerebrospinal fluid or CSF inside that, which will protect it from the shock and all. So the spinal cord, you can see this part is the cervical region, this part is the thoracic region, and this one is the lumbar region. The last part is the sacral, and this tail part is the coccyx. So these are the all parts of the spinal cord. So this spinal cord, these are the vertebrae. Each and every vertebrae is located one above the another. So all this spinal cord structure also, you just know it, how they are originating from a hole at the base of a skull, and the medulla oblongata is continuing down the brain. Spinal cord is protected by CSF. These all are the important points, but these all is not in your curriculum, but you just know it for your knowledge. Cervical, thoracic, lumbar, sacral and coccyx region. Okay, and now we will move on to the next part where we should know about the cross section of the spinal cord. Now here we are seeing the cross section of a spinal cord. Now when the cross section of a spinal cord is divided, it is having 2 similar halves which is fused together to form a small canal. So this canal is called the central canal. So this central canal, we can say that it is also containing cerebrospinal fluid. This is containing cerebrospinal fluid, and the central canal is surrounded by you can see that it is surrounded by a H-shaped region which is the grey matter. So this is the central canal where 2 similar halves are fused together to form the central canal. The central canal is having cerebrospinal fluid, and the central canal is surrounded by a H-shaped area called the grey matter, and it consists of cell bodies of a neuron. It is consisting of cell bodies of a neuron. Now outer portion of the white matter, which consists of the nerve fibers. So this outer portion, the outer portion is the white matter, which is consisting of the nerve fibers. And what is it doing? What is the function of the spinal cord? It is conducting reflexes below the neck and the sensory impulses from the skin and muscles to the brain. So what is it doing? It is conducting the impulses below the brain, and it is also conducting sensory impulses from the skin and the muscles to the brain. Now it conducts several motor responses also from the brain to the muscles of the trunk and limb. So from the brain to the muscles of the trunk and limb, certain impulses are being carried by the spinal cord. So it is a very important part. So this is central canal, this is the grey matter, this is the white matter. So this grey matter and white matter, these all other parts of the cross section you will be studying in higher classes. Just you remember, this is the dorsal root ganglion, this is the posterior horn. So these are few points you should know. And this is the anterior median fissure, and this is the posterior median sulcus. So these other parts are not at all required for your classes, right? So the main important parts is this H region and this white matter. So all in details is not required at this standard. So is it clear to all of you now? So this is all for today's episode, where we have discussed all about the brain and the spinal cord. In the upcoming episode, I'll be discussing about the reflex action. So for that, you need to subscribe to my channel. You need to stay tuned, stay updated with all my lessons which I am posting, so that you can complete each and every lesson with diagrams, with notes in a systematic manner. So subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, share it with those who are in standard 8th, 9th as well as in 10th, as I am teaching all the classes. Stay tuned, stay updated with all my lessons. Thank you.